It's a beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest, so I've come out to the field to do a bit of freestyle flying, and while I'm at it, I figured it'd be a good chance to test out this new HDZero video receiver module. That's what this is on my goggles. It's white because it's a pre-production sample, but the final one will be black, and Carl says that those should be shipping out really soon, like first week of May, so hopefully we'll see availability in stores after that. And I know that's a big deal for a lot of you guys, which is why I want to give you some information about this receiver. It replaces the Fat Shark SharkByte receiver that's been around for a while, but this has been sold out forever. And so if you've been looking to get one of these, this is going to be your opportunity. It's no longer called SharkByte, it's just HDZero, and it's made by DiviMath, but it's totally the same system. So these two modules are mostly the same, but there are some differences, and I want to show you those differences. But before we can do that, I've got to try it out for myself. So I'm going to be testing it on this Twig ET5. For video, this is running the HDZero Micro V2 camera. It's a great camera with a big old lens, so this is kind of as good as the picture quality is going to get. The receiver module does need 4 antennas, has 4 SMA connectors, and you can see I'm going with 4 omnidirectional antennas for today. I'm not going very far. I don't need a lot of penetration and a lot of range, so I'm not going to go with the directional antenna. Just covering the bases with all these differently angled omni antennas is what I'm going to do today. All right, we should be recording, and this is recording from the DVR in the goggles. And so, man, that looks beautiful. The first thing I'll point out is the audio. This new receiver has a built-in microphone, which is a new feature, designed to record ambient sound around the pilot. So that's what you're listening to right now, onboard microphone. Let me know what you guys think. I haven't heard it yet. I'll find out when I get home. But I think it's a really cool addition. It's probably not going to sound great. It's a tiny microphone. It might pick up the wind or the noise of the fan. But just being able to record voice memos or hearing the race director so you know like which heat a different clip came from, that would be really great. So that's really cool. I'm glad they added that. And yeah, this is 16:9 on the Micro V2 HDZero camera, and it looks beautiful. For whatever reason, I always get a little bit of breakup around these trees. And you can see a tiny bit of that now, but not a problem at all. This is about what I would expect on the older receiver module. And flying around here in analog, I get a bunch of static too. I don't know why, these trees are tiny, but there you go. So yeah, this is looking really good. This is my Twig ET5 build. I love this thing. Power to weight is crazy, and it's so agile. Okay, that was weird. I don't actually know what happened there. This thing just failed right in the middle of the flight. I think it rebooted actually. So maybe there's a bad power connection. I don't see anything. That is a bummer about this build. It's one of my favorites too. I'm definitely going to get this fixed back up again, but it might take some debugging. If you think you might know what the problem is, or you want to take a guess, you can leave a comment down below and we'll see who's right. But I've learned many times that it is good to have more than one drone when you head to the field. And so drone number 2 is going to be very different. This is my Shutterbug 85 with SharkByte. And the camera in this one, if you can see it, is the Runcam Nano HD. So this one had the Micro V2. This one has the Nano. And you can see it's got a little antenna back here, but it should be fine. We'll test out the receiver some more with this guy. All right, I'm back at home now. I'm reviewing this footage on the computer, and there's one more clip that I want to leave you with. This is a gentle cruise around the field, just to push the range out a little bit more. I know those trees were super close in, so this is going to push the range out some more. I know it's funny to test the range on the Whoop, but why not? This is the drone that I had. And so I'm flying around the perimeter of this field, hugging the fence line, you know, just in case it goes down, I'll be able to find it over here. But this is not going to be quote unquote long range by any means. I don't really fly super long range, so this is actually a useful test for me because this field represents, you know, approximately the farthest that I fly in any typical situation. So if the video quality holds up in this test at 200 milliwatt with omnidirectional antennas, then that means that that's kind of all that I'm going to need. And in fact, the video is pretty darn clear over here. There's a little bit of jello, that's from the camera, but as far as reception, there's only occasionally little sparkles, and I don't really notice it while I'm flying. What I do notice is that the resolution and the clarity of the image is pretty much constant with this system. It doesn't depend on speed. It doesn't depend on the amount of stuff moving past the camera or anything like that. It's just very consistent. So when I'm flying, it's just really easy for me to stop focusing on the video and just focus on what I'm flying. So you can see there's a little bit of breakup here. It's not completely perfect, but I am very happy with this result. And in the corner of the field, it was about 400 meters away, if that gives you an idea. This is like a $7 little antenna on the drone and omnidirectional antennas on the goggles. So nothing fancy there. Oh, one other thing I should say about this test, there was another pilot in the air. We were flying together from the same location, but he was staying really in close. And so you can see his 5-inch drone here. And I mention that because his drone was much closer to me and my goggles than my drone when my drone was on the other side of the field. So if there was going to be any interference from this analog drone, then that might have shown up in the results. I don't think it did. We were on different frequencies. There shouldn't be any crosstalk there, but I just wanted to mention it. All right, I'm back at the bench, and I just want to go over these two receivers, talk about some of the similarities and differences that I think might matter to you. And just right off the bat, there's way more similarities than differences, right? Like these are basically the same. This isn't really like an upgrade per se over the original, although there are some nice features. It's basically to solve the stock problem. These have been out of stock for a long time. So I know a lot of people have been frustrated wanting to get into HDZero, haven't been able to get these. And so you should have your chance with these. Like I said before, you can pre-order them now and those should be shipping out really soon. So hopefully we'll see these in stock before long. As far as the video reception is concerned, you saw what it's like. You can let me know down in the comments if that's what you expect. I think it looks really good. In fact, I think it might be a little bit better than my original, just because I seem to get more breakup on this original one than other people that I would watch on YouTube. I don't know why, but that was my experience. And so this is kind of closer to what I think you should be able to expect from HDZero. It's certainly working really well, and I'm happy about that. Most of the differences between these actually come from necessity. Part of the reason these were out of stock for so long was just supply shortage on some of the chips, and so they had to make some adjustments there. And so this one is actually slightly larger. It uses slightly different components. If you can see the thickness there, there is a difference in thickness. That's not great. I'd rather have it thin, but this is not going to be a problem, I don't think. The most significant difference between these two is actually the antennas. The original had 2 SMA connectors on top for whatever antennas you want to provide, but these white things here are actually right-hand circular polarized patch antennas. So the original came with 2 patch antennas and you provided your own. The new one, you provide all 4 antennas. So unfortunately, that is going to add to the total cost of ownership of the new receiver. But I don't know, in today's market, with all the prices being jacked up because of supply shortage, the fact that the receiver itself isn't more expensive, that's at least good news. Now, as far as the antennas, this one you actually could remove the front plate, and some people did that to add SMA connectors because that lets you add whatever antennas you want if you don't want these patch antennas. And for racers, I know sometimes people did that because when you're racing, they often tell you to use right-hand circular polarized or left-hand. Depending on the race format, you might actually have to change polarity like mid-race if you're moving up a ladder system. I've been at races like that before, so being able to change them more easily is definitely a nice thing. You can see I've got these long stem antennas on the top, and that is what I recommend. It helps get it away from your head, which is full of water, and that blocks the signal. But these are not expensive. These are like $12 antennas, I think, from TrueRC. And these antennas down here are AXI antennas, but they're rebranded by GetFPV as the Xylo brand. And so these are like $10 antennas as well. Excellent quality antennas. I love using these. I use these on my racing drones as well, but not expensive. So if you're looking for a decent set of Omni antennas for your goggles, I can recommend this combination, and I'll put some links in the video description if that helps you out. Mine is in this white case, but again, the final version will be black. I'll put a picture of it up here with some of the specs, but I believe the physical dimensions and everything are going to be the same, especially the physical dimensions of the back, how it meshes with the goggles is going to be exactly the same as this original one. So if this one can mount on goggles, then the new one can as well. And I know I'm using them on Fat Shark goggles. I know people have used these on Sky Zone and on the Orca goggles, and that can definitely work as well. You can see on mine, I'm using this fan plate up here that comes with it. And then on the back, I just also have some sticky foam tape to just help keep it in place. That's what I've been doing up to this point. You can see this wheel control is exactly the same in the same place. It's not really a wheel, it's really a left button, a right button, and a click. That's how you navigate the menus. But you will see some differences on the bottom with the ports. First of all, right in the middle, you can see the HDMI port, and that runs to the goggles. Should work on any goggles that have HDMI input. One thing I appreciate is the fact that they moved the SD card slot over to the other side. On here, you can see it was right here, which means it was right under this cable. The cable would go right over it. You'd have to kind of push the cable out of the way to get the memory card. Not a big deal, but kind of annoying. Happy to see that they moved it over here. The other two ports on here are for updating firmware and for an ELRS backpack. You can see my HDMI cable actually kind of blocks that one, but presumably that won't be an issue. I'm guessing that they have a different design HDMI cable that they're going to ship with it, but it is definitely close to the HDMI on mine. Another difference is that unfortunately the new one does need more power than the old one. And again, that's just because of different chips that they had to use in this one. The video quality is totally what it should be, but unfortunately it does need a little bit more power. And so that's going to affect your battery life. I'll put the difference in wattage up on the screen. I don't remember that offhand, but that is something to know. You can power this from like a flight battery up to 6S, I think. And so that's what I would recommend. I would not recommend powering it off of like a tiny little goggle pack on the side strap of your goggles, just because you won't get a whole lot of flight time that way. So I think that about wraps it up. If I left anything out or if you have questions, you can leave those down in the comment section below. I'm pretty good at responding to those and happy to talk to you guys. So yeah, let me know what you think about this receiver, if it matches your expectations or if you're excited about this. Or maybe you, like me, are really, really excited about the new goggles that are coming up. HDZero is working on new goggles, and those will be an improvement because without HDMI, the new goggles will actually have even lower latency by syncing directly with the goggles. I personally am very excited about that, but it's going to be a wait. I don't think those will be ready for testing until like midsummer sometimes, if things go well, and then, you know, who knows how long it'll take to actually come to market. So if you don't want to wait, this is definitely going to be your opportunity. So there you go. I hope this information was helpful. Thanks for watching and have a great week.